Welcome back to another episode of Celebrate the Great. I'm your host, Nehemiah Davis, and I'm pumped up about today's episode. Two reasons why. Number one, we got an absolutely incredible guest. And number two, we're actually doing a live podcast. So listen, you may hear some mistakes. You may hear the audio, but we're in my office. We're at the actual Greatness Center. And you guys already know how I do. I commit first, figure out the rest later. I'm not worried about perfectionism, because perfectionism, as I always tell you guys, it breeds procrastination, right? And all we know is about executing and getting the job done. So today's guest, it brings me a great honor to be able to sit here with you today. And I just wanted to first say you're incredible. And second, I wanted to say who you coach is incredible. I've been knowing Devin for the last several years, and we did a lot of charity events together, and you're just an incredible guy. So when you told me you were coming in town, you said, hey, I would love to be able to set up a live podcast with you. And I'm like, man, I have to do that. Like, he knows everybody, Andy Frisella, Ed Milet, and just everyone. So I knew you were a value, period, because I already were following you. But without further ado, I would like to introduce our guest, David Meltzer, on the Celebrate the Great. How you doing?
Awesome, man. Thanks for having me.
Very happy place today. Thank you so much. Thanks so much for being in Philly and actually taking time to be on the interview. So we were sitting around earlier. I had the opportunity to come to a little mastermind that you and Devin had. And one of the biggest takeaways I got was how you treat your time. Can we're gonna jump into your story, but I want to hear, like, how do you value time? Because you talk about you don't go to sleep, you fall asleep because you were productive throughout the day.
Yeah, so it's interesting because most people don't understand time's a man-made construct. And time creates resistance in your life. When you start putting periods of time, I want to get this done by this time, you actually create resistance. So I look at things a little differently in value. So everyone has the man-made construct of 24 hours. In that time frame, we have activities. And one of the activities that everyone does and spends the most time on is sleep. But yet, nobody, except me, I spend so much time studying sleep because I want my sleep to be productive and accessible. Not only is it an activity, but it's an activity that ranges mostly in the subconscious and the unconscious mind, where in the conscious mind, we have about 10,000 new thoughts a day, new things we say, do, and act on. But in the subconscious mind, that's really powerful because we have 40,000 of the same thoughts generating all day and night. And if we're not controlling that, if we're not studying that, if we're not being productive and accessible with it, you can wake up more tired than when you went to bed. I wake up every morning inspired. And that's because I'm utilizing every activity in my life. If it's not at center being an inspired activity, then I'm fighting my way back to inspiration because I know that an inspired time frame actually is a much more productive and accessible time frame than, for example, this podcast sucked. It'd be the longest 20 minutes of people's life. If we inspire people with it, it'd be like, oh, I want more. And so productivity and accessibility is the lens that you look at your activity. Now, as an entrepreneur and as a kidpreneur, like my new friend over there, I want you to realize that there's two types of activity. One, activity you get paid for, and then two, activity you don't get paid for. It has nothing to do with inspiration, passion, or purpose. People confuse work all the time. They're like, I work, well, I get to do everything in my life. If I can't figure out why I get to do it, then I'm not going to do it. I don't have to do anything. Once you get into the realm of have to, now that sounds like work and struggle, resistance, shortage, voids, obstacles. Me, I'm blessed. Everything I get to do, I'm blessed to do. I'm appreciative of doing it. And I'm going to be as productive and accessible as I can until, as you can hear my voice, I'm traveling 2 straight days, I'm going to pass out. But hopefully not on the podcast.
No, hopefully not. Yeah, not in here.
But it could happen when I'm really tired.
So for you, let me ask you, what do you do to prepare to get your subconscious mind? So one of the things I do before I go to bed, I say, money comes easily and frequently. I listen to Jim Rohn. I listen to things that are kind of what I want to achieve. I'm listening to a podcast or watching a webinar. Just before I go to bed, I'm putting good in my brain. How do you train the subconscious mind to get there for you?
So for me, it's about the minute I wake up. So I'm living my life knowing that I want to wake up by 4 a.m. the next day and be the most productive and accessible person. I know that 4 a.m. to 9 a.m. is my time. And I can do 2, 3, 4, 5 times what most people can do if I utilize my 4 a.m. to 9 a.m. productively and accessible. So I live my life throughout the day to that point so that when it comes time where I'm losing all energy, I simply say thank you. As much as I can be thankful for, I think of, but a lot of times, the last 2 words I ever hear every day is gratitude. that gives me that perspective. Now, there's certain things that I do to make sure that my subconscious mind is set. I sleep at 67 degrees. I have my wife going nuts, but 67 degrees, I've studied, that's the temperature you should sleep at. 2, sleep in the same place that you're not doing work. So you should be studying bed. You should only do relaxing things while you're in bed. You should sleep in darkness. Right? You should sleep without sound. All those things are things that you can do so that your subconscious mind can program itself and regenerate. What happens in the subconscious mind is you create neural pathways. And that's where habits are formed. And the truth is, in life, what you want to do is whoever has the most good habits wins. It's that simple. But my whole construct is to create a habit machine. I'm not worried about what my habits are. I'm focusing a step in front of that. How can I have a habit machine so if I all of a sudden say, I want to get in the habit to learn Mandarin, I'll just input it in my body, my mind, and my soul will be right on target. If I can make adjustments in my life, then I'm going to, for example, one of the things I adjusted as a leader, in the olden days, so different strategies were to inspire people. So it was a little bit harder. Right? People have a thicker skin. So I would use what I call public haters. I take the strongest employee that I had. When they made a mistake, I would yell. So the whole office could hear, and I knew this person could take it, but everyone else didn't get harmed by it. Well, it's so sensitive nowadays. I had to change that, and it's a hard habit to break. So I literally have a habit machine. I said, I'm not going to do public haters anymore. I'm using more inspired, positive, productive way. When someone makes a mistake, I'm going to try to work through understanding, as well as the miracle of what lessons you learn. So now I do a dummy test. I go through everybody in the office, and I say, what's the biggest mistake that you've made? How did it affect our business, and why did you make it? What have you learned from it? I go around and I give a bonus to whoever made the biggest mistake. So now I'm actually shifting energy so people are encouraged to make mistakes. If you're not making mistakes, you're not living. I don't want anyone around me that doesn't make mistakes. The Bible just sit at home. I want you to make big mistakes, not twice. You start making it twice, then you know.
Gotcha. So let me ask you a question. This is good because you raised, you built several $1 million businesses. You said you lost millions. So what would you say was one of your biggest mistakes that you learned from that kind of changed the direction for you?
For me, it's ego. And so humility is a key word. I put 2 words, radical humility, next to my bed. I encourage any young entrepreneurs and kidpreneurs. My biggest mistake in life was I didn't ask for help. Because I had great success economically right out of law school, I just continued to think that I knew everything. And I still see today the biggest tragedy, even in my own life, is when I'm not asking for help. I'm not humble enough to say, hey, do you know about this sport? I do. Can you help me? In fact, I'm probably the oldest guy on the internet, right? I got the biggest following on Instagram for a little man. But it's because I went and asked for help from the young guys. Right? I went to Gary Vee humbly and said, hey man, can you help me? But he also asked me for help. He doesn't know about sports agencies and creative English sports, and he was humble. We're both humble. He knows so much that he can teach me. I know so much that I can teach him. So radical humility is the biggest lesson that not only I learned in the past, but I'm still learning today. Whenever I catch myself making those mistakes, it's normally because my ego is in the way.
So how often do you ask for help? Because at a point in time when a lot of people sometimes they look for help. All they do is just take. So it's a point where you gotta give value too. Are you immediately asking for help, or are you giving value first?
Let me make that clarification because I absolutely live by the shifting the paradigm of value. I don't ask for help unless I have some value that I've given. And asking for help is not just from people. I ask it from the universe. I'm a big faith guy. Right? I put faith in what I want. And what truly proves that I put faith in what I want is those who give unconditionally to others are putting faith in what they want. That's a construct and a conflict that most people don't understand. But if you truly trust, you put faith in the universe, faith in God, faith in whatever you believe in, and all you are is unconditional service and providing value to others, and then you ask big for help, you create a void that the universe will come. And when you get into that cycle, when you trust it, I write a lot of checks to charity, I donate my time, I do all types of things to help other people, and I'm still fighting the scarcity that there's not enough. I still got kids that go to college, graduate school, I got weddings and 3 daughters. Should I do this? And then I realized, no, that's not the faith. I'm putting faith in what I want. Faith is more than enough for me, and more than enough to go through me for others.
You say faith part again is more than enough for
There's more than enough for me. So I live in a world with more than enough. There's more than enough for me, but most importantly, there's more than enough to go through me. And I appreciate it. I'm grateful for it. But I add value to it, and then I give it away. So there's more than enough for others. Three worlds people live in. Not enough. And that's about how much you have. But I got friends with big ass houses in Newport Beach. Sorry about my neighbors. Big houses in Newport Beach. And that always go down. I live in a world that not enough. I got friends like I live just enough. Every month the bills come at just enough. They live in a world of just enough. No matter how much money those people have, they'll always not have enough or live in a world of just enough. But when you can have faith that there's more than enough of everything for everyone, then you live in a world no matter what you have, of more than enough. And abundance comes upon you so that you can benefit others with the same feeling, the same emotion, the same faith.
That's huge. So for you, I heard you earlier, you were just talking about how you're just a salesman, right? You work your way up the ranks being a salesman. What's some things you learned at being a good salesman? Because I think more people should sell. Like a lot of people, that's why I teach entrepreneurship. I'm like, sell. Because you can literally go make what you want. You're an effective communicator. If you're a salesman, then you're an effective communicator. You know how to talk, you know how to network. That skill is like an undeniable skill to get you anything you want in the world. So I know it took you very far up the ranks at Samsung, I believe you said, CEO of that, and I'm sure it's still helping all your business.
I still the most known sports agency in the world. Right. Warren Newman and I 10 years ago started the most known sports marketing company together. Right. So selling is this, and it doesn't matter if you do it for money or not. Selling is people buy on emotion for logical reasons. So what I learned to do is to connect to people. I connect to people emotionally, and then I give the reasons and pass the capabilities. Then I use, different things like make yourself equal and make yourself different. Then I use things like if you're not ready to walk, you're not ready to sell. I live by the 5 to Thrive, which is a sales tool, which is my life mission. One, what I try to do in the world is stimulate interest for good causes. So that's the first thing when you sell. Stimulate interest. 2, transition interest. So I stimulate your interest by connecting emotionally to you. How do we connect emotionally? I simply say, 76ers. Dr. J's my favorite player. Oh, that's my second. Wait, I have an emotional connection. Now I got you. In fact, I study history because I want to know only one thing, human nature. The more I understand human nature, the more I can figure out what do you like, what don't you like, what are you doing today, and how can I be of service. Then I can provide value once I know those questions. What are the reasons you're doing it? What impact does it have on your life? What capabilities do you have, want or need? If I can fulfill some of that with some of my value, I can create a quantitative result to that, right? And it's extraordinary. You have to have faith when you do that. So you stimulate interest, transition interest, share a vision. Now, most people think in sales, this is what I mean. When I make a sale, that's all my sales forces I ran. I use sales forces. Oh, I made a sale. I said, you didn't make a sale. I said, you shared a vision. You're 20% done. No, I got a signed contract. I said, oh, did you deliver it? No. I said, you're only 20% done. Because you got to manage and develop a vision. That's the 4th step. If you can manage and develop the vision that you promised, if you can manage and develop, I'd say meet the expectations, because I find it very rare that a salesperson can meet the true expectations that they promise. But if you manage and develop a vision, then it will thrive. Step 5. 5 to thrive. Stimulate interest, transition interest, share vision, manage and develop a vision, and then thrive. Great companies thrive. Why? Because when I'm sitting on the airplane and some guy sees me with my AirPods and he says, how do you like those? And I'm like, oh my God, I love them. And they work, I didn't like them. I didn't think I wanted them. The boys at the office bought them for me, told me how it changed my life. And Apple's not paying me anything. Right. But all of a sudden, I got 6 people on the plane going, can I try those? Can I buy? How much were they? I'm selling for them. We do the same thing in life. Same thing in life.
Somebody bought me those. I'm like, man, I said, I wasn't going to buy them at first. I just thought it was ridiculous. It was not that the 180 was allowed. I'm like, headphones, they were selling them for 25, 180. But when he bought them, I lost them. I went and bought another pair. I'm like, once you get them, I need them.
That's thriving, but it's even better to know that you can do that. You take young entrepreneurs and we stimulate their interest. We transition and we share a vision saying, hey, there's a way to live your life. We create it. You were talking earlier, and I believe in this, but you can't achieve it unless you see it. I had a class like this and we did a thing, hey, draw where you want to be, what you want to be. And it was kids about 12 years old. And one more in the back, he wasn't drawing anything. All of a sudden I saw his face light up, he draws, collect all the pictures. Everybody leaves, I looked at it, and there was a picture of a pizza delivery. So we talked to his mom and said, hey, don't worry, your son, that's his life dream. He said, I'm not surprised. You know, his dad's in jail, his uncles are dead, his only male role model is a pizza delivery. That's his vision. But we gotta show other things. That's why the Circle, Greatness Academy and living here and accelerating greatness. My mom, I grew up 6 kids, single mom, 2-bedroom apartment in Akron, Ohio. But the one thing my mom did was share a vision, right? Share a vision that if you get educated, you can do whatever you want. You can be whatever you want to be. Started exposing us to people that were successful in different areas, like yourself, exposing all the people, the young people. Once they see it, you know what they say in their mind? Because I said it when I saw it. I'm smarter than that guy. Right? Oh, I'm better athlete than that guy. Well, if he could do it. That's what my favorite thing about myself is I love LeBron James. I look at LeBron James, but I know I can never be that. Right? But when people look at David Meltzer, there's no doubt that, oh, dude, that guy played football in college. Oh my God, that guy made $1 million. I can do it. I like that about myself. It's not being humble. It's just being honest that, hey man, everybody can do it. I'm just not, this immersive character that I can never be, Warren Buffett. Be approachable.
And it's funny you said, because my favorite quote is, once your mind is expanded to a new concept or idea, it's hard to go back to its original way of thinking. So when I worked at first off, when I was in 9th grade, my mom sent me to the school where I was a minority, but I grew up in a drug-infested neighborhood. So in the neighborhood, the only people I looked up to were like drug dealers. I'm like, man, that's how I can live like that. So I'm like, all right, I guess I'm gonna do that. But then she sent me to another school, and then when I'm at this new school, like my friends had mansions, their dads owned $1 million companies. We used to spend the night, they had a pool house, horses, 4-wheelers, all on the property. I'm like, hold on, you tell me this life actually exists, right? I ended up getting kicked out of that school, but I took that vision because I was still immature.
Yeah.
But I went at my last job, which was at the private airport. And it took me back to my favorite quote, once your mind is expanding to a new concept or idea. But I'm seeing millionaires, billionaires. I know you talked about the Gulfstream earlier. Yeah, the Gulfstream. Like, I seen all these people getting off of these jets. I'm like, hold on, everybody there, they were so small-minded. They was like, oh, it must be nice. And in my mind, I'm like, it will be nice, right? Like, I held that vision, and I said then, like, I'm gonna fly a jet one day right from this job. Eventually, I got fired from that job, but that job was the spark to make me want to be an owner. Because I realized you can't own a jet or do that unless you're an owner. You have to own something. You have to be high up somewhere in order for that to happen. So fast forward 9 years later, I was finally able to go on a jet, right? But I held the vision, and most people don't hold the vision. One thing, I actually took Corey on the jet with me on a Gulfstream 4, but now you're like, oh man, like, no one would never took me on a jet. I didn't know a jet even exists, so to be able to do that for him, it wasn't for me. It was for me, but to bring somebody with me, and I know it could potentially change their life. So if you listen to the podcast today, I just want people to know, like, exposure, that's the number one thing I think that can literally spark interest to, like, oh, I actually have more people.
Yeah, and the reason is that in order to get what you want, you have to be able to pay attention to it. So if we're not aware of it, how can we pay attention to it? Meaning we can't have clarity, balance, and focus on that. And when we do that, it's very simple. There's a big database out there. I call it the field of attention. But people want to know, how do I allow the field of attention to come to me, right? The law of attraction, they call it allowance. Well, you have to actually, law of attraction includes action. And one of those actions is paying attention to what you want. Well, if we don't know what it is, if we don't see it, there's no way we can ever draw it down from the database. There's no way I can materialize. So the more exposure that we give to all types of different people, careers, material items, I think that's fine, right? We can live, because I believe, it's not the money that makes us happy, it's the ability to shop. And if we shop for the right things, we can be really, really happy. And, allow, like, I love the fact that you're like me, my favorite thing about flying private, and I don't do it as often, because I like to save money and send the books out for free. But sometimes I have to. And my favorite part is making people have never been before. And the reason is I want them to experience it and then take it away and say, you know what, that was cool, but it ain't worth it. Because that's a realization that I came, like very rarely, I have to have a strong ROI to get onto a jet. And there are some cool systems out there that, sometimes for me, private jets are cheaper than taking a commercial. And that makes sense. But I love the fact that, my son has been on private jets since he was a tiny little boy. You'll call them small or big planes, but his perspective is different. And I don't like this plane. Right? He'd rather fly because he doesn't have the judgment and the value and the insecurity that I have. That I wanted to be rich, right? This was a symbol. I drove a Ferrari for one reason. I wanted people to think I was successful. That car sucks. It broke down all the time. I drove it too much, it broke down. I drove it very little, it broke down. It got dented. It cost a fortune. It exposed, my anatomy to women, my true anatomy, how insecure. The weirdest one was I thought people would think I was great by driving that car, and they all thought I was an asshole. Excuse my language again, but literally, it didn't do what I wanted it to do. People laugh, but I get out of a car and jump into my Chevy Bolt, and I've had pretty famous people go, "Come on, that's David Meltzer's car," and my publicist is like, "Yeah, that's his car. Doesn't use any gas there and back. He loves it."
Because now, because that's where I'm at now. It's like you probably had everything you want, could get anything you want, and I'm like, for me, I'm noticing I get things, and I'm like, what's next? Like anytime I get something, like what's like been on the jets, like. All right, what's next?
Yeah.
Get the car you want. What's next? Get the house you want. So I'm always on the mindset of what's next. So what's kind of next for you, and how do you, like, what is next? Because if you had everything, what else do you want?
Yeah, so for me, it's not about me. So I created a matrix of things going through me.
Gotcha.
So I want more for my wife, more for my daughter and son, more for my mom, more for my immediate family, more for my employees and my associates, more for my community, more for my country, and more for the world. And so in order to do that, I have to be successful. I believe in profitability first. I want more to come through me because I love the feeling of not only economically helping others, but empowering others to empower others. Because one person at a time, I can empower you, but if I can empower you to empower others, imagine as we empower down to the kidpreneurs there, we're affecting millions of people. I opened 2 community centers last year in Africa, and all I can think of myself is an empowerment center, and I'm thinking, wow, if I live long enough, I wonder how many millions of people will lives will change from this one need, this one good deed. And if that doesn't fire you up, there'll always be enough for me. Yeah, I've had it, I know. I'm one of those guys that knows this because I'm very spiritual. But I'm like very materialistic in the fact that I want everyone to fly private. I want everyone to own a Porsche or a Ferrari and that house that they want. And I want you to learn from it. And because if you have the power to have that, you can do a lot with it. And the truth is, you deserve it if some people do. If you enjoy a Ferrari, then keep the goddamn thing. Keep it. Right? But have the ability to keep on allowing other things to come through you. There's part of everyone that's ego-based. And no matter what, there's always going to be fear, guilt, resentment, inferiority, superiority, separateness. There's going to be selfishness. But you cannot be selfless without selfish. Because you got nothing to give. You can't give what you don't have. You can't give gratitude if you don't have it. You can't give forgiveness if you don't have it. You can't give love if you don't love yourself. How are you going to love anybody else? I had a mentor of mine teach me. He kept saying, "Learn to love you," and I was like, "What is he talking about? Learn to love me? I gotta focus on helping other people." He goes, "You don't even know your value. You would be mad at me. You don't know your own worth." And I started realizing, I don't. I'm not worthy of all that I have. I felt guilty. I worked really hard for what I had, and I felt guilty because my mom made $12 grand a year, and I made $12 million a year. What's that? I felt guilty. I didn't feel worthy of it. That's not a good, healthy way to be. But when I started to love myself by helping other people and doing the things that I do and wearing every day the best I can, I'm a hypocrite like anyone else. This is stuff that I want to do for me. But I'm on the same journey. And I told someone today, like, how do you do that? Stay so motivated, stay so positive, be so kind, give everything. I said, first of all, I'm not this way all the time. Just, that's why I'm not on the Housewives of Orange County.
Right.
Because they see how imperfectly perfect I am. But I am. I'm imperfect. And you want to test yourself? Any dads out there? Go ahead. You walk outside. I wake up at 4 a.m. I woke up one morning. I woke up at 4 a.m. and my 17-year-old daughter's car wasn't there. Okay. You try to be perfect. Try to be perfect. There's tons of situations. The difference is I go back to center really quick. And I forgive myself now. I used to, nobody here beat themselves up. You beat yourself up all the time. You worry about what other people think. Get off a podcast, go, oh man, I didn't say this word correctly. People.
But when I started, I'm like, man, I'm messed up. Like, I'm not, but I'm like, it's part of it.
It's the best part of it. I did an interview with, it was one of my favorite ones. Remember Bull Durham, the movie? Robert Bull, or Ellis. Somebody's old enough to know these shows. But anyway, he's a famous actor. And I screwed up the interview, and he's like, do they actually pay you to do this? This may be the worst question I've ever heard in the middle of the interview. And I'm like, don't worry, I'll start over. And he goes, no, Dave, that's the good stuff. This is the good stuff, man. Making mistakes, it's what we live for. And it's just, if we don't keep making mistakes, we don't know how quickly we get back to center. And here's how it works. If you stay on the trajectory to the truth, your potential, it's going to be very simple, effortless. What's your prayer at night? I love that. It's an effortless prayer at night that you do.
Affirmations, you say?
And at night when you go to bed, you have an effortless prayer about your life being effortless or something.
Oh, money comes easily, frequently, and abundantly.
Right. Frequently, that's effortless. Right? That's the projection of your potential. What happens to people is we go off into an ego-based trajectory. Right? We feel guilty, resentful, not worthy, inferior, superior, separate, anxious, fearful. I'm sure no one out there feels like that, like me. But when we do, if we stay that way, we wonder why, right? What we're doing is putting faith in what we don't want. And I promise you one thing, you put faith in what you don't want, you're gonna get what you don't want.
Every time.
And so you gotta remember, okay, awareness, oh shoot, I feel guilty. Guilty's not a healthy thought. It's an ego-based thought. I'm gonna go back to center. Oh, I feel angry. Angry's not a healthy thought. I feel not worthy, not healthy. So that awareness, that practice, and as much, I tell this like 5 times a day to people, and I still do it myself. I still catch myself going, why am I mad? Why am I insecure? Like literally, why am I insecure? I know this is just an illusion. I should be productive and accessible, helping other people and getting what I want to help other people.
That's good. So for you, what are some things you're working on now to even gain more success? Any books you read, anything you're doing to personally develop to take you even further than you are right now?
Yeah, the most significant thing that I'm reading is a thing called The Course in Miracles.
The Course in Miracles?
Course in Miracles. Course in Miracles, it's a very difficult text, but I found that a lot of my mentors all had it in common. So mentors that are passed away already, mentors, great thought leaders in the world, physics, Nobel Peace Prize winners, they all study this text, and I study it every day. And it's showing me the fluidity of what I believe is the secret to life, which is happiness, is the enjoyment of the consistent, everyday, persistent, without quit pursuit of your potential. If you want to know what happiness is, it's enjoying the consistent, persistent pursuit of your potential. That will keep you inspired. Just pursuing the greatness that you have every day. In this text, I tell people, the best piece of advice I can give you is to say thank you before you go to bed and when you wake up. You do that for 30 straight days, I promise you your life will change. Everybody in here, if I ask you, can you say thank you twice a day for 30 straight days, they would raise their hand. Here's the saddest thing. Half the people here tonight won't say thank you. By the next morning, another half will say thank you. Within 3 days, most of us would stop saying thank you. That's how far we're in our own way. Now, I have been with the great thought leaders, Bob Proctor, unbelievable, Tony Robbins, all the great ones, they all agree. I've studied physics, metaphysics, they all agree that thank you is the easiest way to change your life. I get to, I don't got to, right? Gratitude. Everything I'm thankful for, it's just the lessons. But yet, this is what a hypocrite I am. I know it to be true. I do it now every day. I say thank you. Took me 9 months. I'm just gonna be honest. Took me 9 months to say thank you for 30 straight days without missing a day. We're so far in our own way. Our ego gets in our own way, and it forces us, it's like we're afraid to be great. You ever hear that? Don't be afraid to be great. We're afraid to be great. We know gratitude will make you great, but yet we can't do something every day. So what I work on is that consistency, and it goes back to the very beginning. You have a cellular memory. The only way we can get inputs of data, those 10,000 new thoughts, actions, is every day to be consistent about what we're inputting into our memory, our cellular memory, because that goes into the subconscious, creates neural pathways. It takes about 21 to 30 days to create a new neural pathway. That means a habit can be formed. That means now when we go to sleep, we're working for us, not against us. And when that happens, there's something really cool that happens called an unconscious competency. There's two sides of it. One is genetics, and you'll get this. That's why that neighborhood is so important. Personality traits, characteristics, obsessions, and addictions. That is a genetic problem. It's in your DNA. So you look at your grandparents or great-grandparents, if you believe in past lives, you can't even be aware of it, but you have inherited those personality traits, characteristics. You actually, by consistent behavior, can activate and deactivate your DNA. You can change your personality. You can change your obsessions. You can turn them into things that are helpful. Right? I'd much rather be addicted to drinking water than drinking tequila. I'd much rather be addicted to working out than to shooting up heroin. Right? I must be more addicted to helping people than stealing. But people are addicted to all those things, or gambling. Right? I'd rather be addicted to that. Why not activate? What if you're unhealthy? You know, our basic health state is being healthy. We want to activate the healthy genes, deactivate the unhealthy genes. That's how some people can have stage 4 cancer. Miraculously, they're healed. They deactivated the genetics. Now, even more impressive is the energetic unconscious competency. And this is very true. Everyone's going to understand this. Why is it I think, say, and do all the right things? I even believe the right things, but I keep attracting the same thing in my life. I'm stuck. Like people tell me all the time, Dave, I'm stuck. I keep attracting the same problems, shortages, voids, obstacles. I keep attracting the same people, different faces. You know, anyone's dating out there, I see it all the time. I got 3 daughters, but I'll never date a guy like that again. Next guy, same dude, different shape. Right? Why? Because you're attracting unconsciously. So we have to shift our energy. How do we do that? Consistent behavior. And remember, 2 minutes a day is worth way more than an hour on a Saturday. So lower the bar, just do stuff every single day. And the body and the mind will respond. So many times I don't want to work out. I'm religious about working out. And I just tell myself, you know what? I'm just going to run, you know that easy bike, the one that sits like this? So I tell myself, you know what? I'm going to go work out, but I'm just going to sit on the easy bike, listen to my Wayne Dyer, and then I'll stretch for half an hour. Still, I know that's healthy. The last time, because I fighting this little voice thing, before I got on the plane, I'm like, up at 4, I'm like, oh God, I don't feel like doing this. I told myself I'm just gonna do that. By the time I got to the gym, I was right back running 3 miles super fast, back on the weights, and I felt great. So just lower the bar, do stuff every day. Like that. Conscious, subconscious, and unconscious. You want your unconscious, there's idiots out there, everyone knows them. Like, how's that guy make all that money, have a beautiful family? I got nothing in here. Why? Because he has an unconscious competency. Can't be.
Consistent. And that's the same. And I tell a lot of people, I'm like, man, I be looking at people, I'm like, man, you better than me. Like, you more talented than me. You could do way better. You smarter than me. But I'm like, the reason why I beat a lot of people, because I just never stop. Like, I see a lot of entrepreneurs, they start, they stop, they start, they stop. And I'm just keep going. No matter what failures are in my way, no matter what's going wrong, no matter how many times I mess up. And I realize I'm meeting people because I'm making the decision that don't stop no matter what. So if you're listening here today, guys, I want to say how important it is just not to stop. Like, stopping is
just like stay in business. Like, maybe people ask me what's your best piece of advice for business. First thing I do every day is I guarantee I'm going to be in business tomorrow. Because if I can stay in business, eventually it's like breathing. As long as I'm breathing, I know I got a chance. It's like I could drive from here, Philadelphia, home tonight. I could drive from here all the way home tonight, at night, only seeing 3 feet in front of me. But people don't see that. They're trying to look out 16 miles ahead. Right? And that's the start and stop. Me, I'm very present. I know what I want to do, and I know my values change. I love change. I'm one of the few people that love change. Mostly only wet babies love change. I love change. And when I see change, I know something good's happening. get scared, they retract. Not me, I expand. When things are changing, I'm like, something good is happening. And it's taken years for me to get there. It's like putting faith in saying, the universe, God, it has something better for me. Not something worse. That's the only choice you have. Most things are changing. Most people go, oh no, things are changing. That means something worse is coming. It's not what I planned. Not me. I know there's a higher source. I put faith in it, true faith. And I'm like, oh, I'm going the wrong direction. That's why things are changing. Someone's taking care of me. I'm living in God's favor.
That's good. So guys, we're pretty much about to wrap it up. Tell people how they can support you, where they can get your book. I'm sure it's all over Amazon and everywhere, and how people can kind of stay in touch with you.
Yeah, at David Meltzer, my Instagram. You can Google me, David Meltzer.
And plug it in the show notes.
That'd be great. I don't, my book is available on Amazon, but I prefer if people really need it. DM me, and I will send you my book. I'll pay for shipping. I have several books that I've written. I am launching a new book, June 14th, about business strategies. That will be business strategies from the greatest stories in sports. So I use sports stories to teach people the great business strategies that I know with all our great sports heroes. So the best thing you can do to support me, though, is very simple. I'm going to joke about be kind to your future self and do good deeds. Just do good deeds, man. Pick up trash. Open, do the unexpected, take care of the people. But I'm telling you, everybody just was kind and they were doing good deeds. There would be so much abundance in the universe. Everybody would feel so good. There's no reason not to smile at everybody. We are all one. We don't all look alike, thank goodness, because if everyone looked like me, this would be an ugly world. But smile, give a hug, open a door, pick up trash, put the grocery cart back, and start at a young age because people are watching you. It's contagious. I don't tell people what to do, but it's amazing. When I'm at the grocery store and I'm at my car and they see me jogging back, I see the lady that's flipping it up onto the planter. All of a sudden she's flipping it back down and she's right behind me. People, they watch, and especially your children. Don't tell your children what to do. Just let them watch you. And if you're living the best that you can, they'll get it. They're not going to listen to you, but they'll watch you.
That's important. And I think you said earlier, did you say about, I think it was you, where we just talked about listening to your parents for the right things?
Yeah.
That's important, man. Because I see a lot of kids I think you should listen to your parents, important. But when it comes to business and certain things, I don't think you should listen to your parents because their number one objective is to keep you safe, to keep you stability, you said, and make sure you're good.
Exactly, right. The line is, right, just because someone loves you doesn't mean they give you good advice.
Right.
So when your parents know about, if they're giving you advice on staying safe, listen to your parents. When they're giving you advice about alcohol and drugs and premarital sex and things that they know about, listen to your parents. But if your mom's a second grade teacher and she's trying to give you advice on whether or not you should get into technology or be an entrepreneur, she may not be giving you the best advice. So go like a handful of sand, let it fall through. But please, one thing is, whenever someone gives you advice, don't resist it. Just be grateful that somebody cares enough. No one's going to give you advice unless they care about you. It's like when my girls tell each other they hate each other. I ruin their whole arguments. I walk up to both of them like, you guys make me so happy. And they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, you care so much about each other. You actually hate each other. I go, I'm doing my job. That's so awesome. I'm like, all right, go back. And it takes all the steam out of them. Like, what the heck? Right? But the same thing. So your friends, your family, you're going to end up resenting them if you take advice that they don't know about. If mom don't cook, don't take cooking advice.
It's
Buy
funny.
something that cooks.
My grandma used to tell me, don't travel. It's bad, it's bad, it's bad. And I love my grandma more than anybody, right? But I've been to 54 countries. I'm like, Grandma, I've been to all around the world. It's safer in these countries. I could walk out in West Philly and something could happen to me without me knowing. I've been the most safest in these countries that you think is bad. Well, Grandma, I can't take your advice on travel because you've never been anywhere. So I just want, if you're listening to this, man.
That's a stereotypical one.
Yeah.
Because she's trying to protect you.
Absolutely, and I think a lot of parents are trying to protect you, but you gotta seek advice and do what you love because like you said earlier, it's even down to going to college. I don't think there's nothing wrong with going to college, but you gotta pay that debt off if you don't love it. You gotta live with those decisions that someone else is forcing you to make. So I'm not telling you don't listen to your parents if you listen to Celebrate the Great, but what I am telling you, you got to make decisions based on the things you love, the things that drive you, the things that make you happy. Because if you're not, you're going to live a life that you're going to probably regret.
And ask for help and get advice from people that have experience. So if you want to go to college, then go talk to people, right, that have been to college, that don't go to college, but have been successful at it, and other opportunities and options like that.
Yeah.
That's all.
Listen, I appreciate it.
Thank
It's an
you.
incredible episode. Thank you for the value that you delivered today. I'm very grateful. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna start saying thank you at
Awesome.
night and when I wake up. So it was
And
incredible.
your life will change, I guarantee you.
Please.
Send you a free book.
Thank you so much. So guys, I want to say thank you again for tuning in to Celebrate the Great. Again, this is our first live podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was a lot of value. Please follow me. Please order his book. Please look out for the upcoming book and anything he has going on. He just dropped tremendous amount of game and value here, and we're super grateful. So please go follow him on Instagram. Check him out on YouTube. Go show some love. Anyone who comes on our show, I want all of our listeners to go spam their comments. Just let them know you appreciate it, because that means they'll come back, right? So with that being said, guys, please like, please subscribe, please share out this interview. And we're going to continue to celebrate the great and help change the world. Everybody have a great day.